Hello, everybody. I'm Paul Ryden. I was looking on websites about adoption and the joys that go with being chosen into a family. But while it brings incredible joy for both parents and adoptees, it also comes with lots of questions and challenges. Our guest today, Raul Cuero, has written a novel about adoption with a twist. It's called Polishing Diamonds, the story of triplets born to a dying mother and each one adopted to a different family. Welcome, Raul. So glad to join us today from Houston, Texas. You
Thank
get
you so much.
you
I
get
appreciate
right into the action right on page one there. The natural mother, Iris, found lying motionless on a street and rushed to the hospital where she gives birth to triplets and then dies. Wow, that's a lot of action right in the first couple of pages.
Yes, indeed.
What gave you the idea for this story?
The idea come from my own experience and also from living around the world in many places in which history and society have always placed the three main pillars to our success, which are wealth, education, and faith.
Mhm.
And that's what I created triplets rather than twins or a single girls.
Yeah, as
Because
a matter of fact, it's almost has the feel of a fable because you're or a parable. You're talking about these three socioeconomic groups. It's fascinating the way you do that. Three sisters, each adopted into three very different families, and as you say, those three: the education, religion, and what was the other one?
education, religion, and wealth.
Wealth. Right, right, right.
Wealth, yeah,
That's
yeah.
yes, the first one. What was her name? Iliad, right?
Eliab with the wealth,
Yeah,
and then Epiphany with a highly educated family, and Maya,
Maya.
adopted by the low-income family of faith.
Hmm. Now, you name each chapter after a year. First one is 1995, and then you jump to when they're 10 years old at 2005, and you go on like that until they reach the age of 42 in the year 2037. Why did you take that approach? And do the girls ever meet besides those times? Because I know that the first time in 2005, they hadn't seen each other in 10 years.
But they meet in between after 10 years. They meet
Okay. They
quite
meet another
often.
7 years after that.
Yes, yes. And I do as a way to to represent that despite these girls uh, being sisters and coming from the same mother,
Mhm.
they they tend to not to lean in each other. They had their own, despite of some similarity, they had their own way of doing things and purposes.
Right.
Nevertheless, they have a common denominator, which is looking for their own purpose of life. But they got differences. In fact, during the novel, they try to look at why they, despite of being sister, they have a little different tone of skin, as well as different, a little bit different on the hair. But nevertheless, they had the same kind of intelligence and they had in the same purpose of life. What's what made people unify. Not just the way they look, but their own purpose of life. So I did it on purpose. And they don't meet quite often in order to make sure that they develop their own purpose
Mhm.
rather than being whenever they meet so often you create what they call extended family concept.
Uh-huh.
You override each individual creativity or purpose.
Mhm.
So that's this is what I did it like that.
How did
And also the other point of view is that there is a belief that anytime you adopt a person, you are automatically saving the person. No, the person continues with the challenge to find their own identity and their own purpose of life.
mm,
So just an adoption, being adopted doesn't mean that you are saved. You still have to go to overcome challenges as
sure.
an individual. So that's what I create this triplet
Mhm.
rather than twins or single girls. But the book is about inspiration rather than just motivation, because many books and many people confuse the two concepts. This girl, they are inspired by the fact also that the mother being so intelligent, she she fell off the cliff, become alcoholic, and they didn't want to be like that.
Mm-hmm.
So this girl, they set up a purpose to overcome the situation.
Mm-hmm.
And also, the most important part of it is that they feel comfortable with the three traditional concepts of faith, education, and wealth. But they found that the societal demand and also this parameter not necessarily fulfill their own purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why the book start unfolding on the story of this girl. This is a lot of creativity, a lot of uh, courage that they do, and inspirational, but at the same time entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's very difficult today to read or to watch even movies who have both inspiration and entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's also what in the book there is a lot of drama, a lot of joy, a lot of celebration, but a lot of creativity, and also a lot of betrayal. That you could see love betrayal, professional betrayal. For instance, Ilya, the one adopted by the wealthy family, she's a designer, but despite of being the best in the world, she realized that that doesn't fulfill her capacity, and that's when she teamed up with the other one who was raised by the highly educated family, who is a medical doctor and inventor like myself.
Mm-hmm.
It's a real story. So the two team up, Epiphany and Iliad, and they constitute a technological company, which is unique because they created textile, which is anti-change of climate, which doesn't wrinkle and doesn't change color despite the change of season.
Mm-hmm.
So they had to do something unique, not repeating what men have been doing in order to compete. That's it. And the other one, Maya, she's a lawyer, which become a president, but she had to resign after a few months because her husband committed some mistakes. And when she resigned, she always wanted to be a president, but when she resigned, she created a foundation for training young single mother. And then she was called back to be president because her program, which I wrote it, anybody who read the book is going to see that it's a wonderful program that any candidate can use it. And they asked them to come back, but she didn't accept to go back.
Well, now don't give away too much of the book. I mean, this is a
Oh
novel.
yeah, very
You're
good.
giving it
Thank you.
away here.
Yeah, that's
I
good.
didn't
Yeah.
realize that Maya was the one who went on to become president or that she resigned. So, but now the creativity and the scientific and the invention, that's a lot on you. You have a great background in that as an inventor yourself. Tell us a little bit about your scientific background, your inspiration by creativity and invention.
I I use nature as a source of creativity. Very good, because I was born in a very poor place that there was nothing but just nature, full of animals and plants. And that
Where
was
was that?
my study in Latin America. That was my source of creativity. So that was fantastic. So then, of course, I spent most of my life in America, where I had done all my scientific research, as well as in the United Kingdom, where I got my PhD degree, and I practiced my science there.
Mhm.
Yeah. And so I was able always have kept in mind creation for equity and for helping society, because I always want to be a priest
Mm.
with the concept of priesthood that been helping society, but I didn't have anything to help people. So the only The only thing that I had was to create something, and I did it, and I had done it. I developed a different way to, for instance, to for early detection of cancer. I developed for early detection of diabetes.
Hmm.
All this technology. I've been developing lately a very good technology for very nutritional people, creating new type of proteins. And I had developed a better way to produce what is called a functional food that not only is going to satisfy our taste, but also is give us a good way to prevent diseases or not.
Hmm.
Those are patents technology that I had created. And also I developed other technology that I didn't patent that have to do with the elimination of bacteria, pathogenic bacteria, as well as protozoa like amoeba, all these kinds of stuff to help people. And also, I'm developing all the technology related to the, the uptake of CO2 from the environment, which is now on the patentee as a patent
Okay,
pending.
well, with all that activity, all those pursuits in the scientific realm and inventions, how do you have time to write a novel?
Yes, because this is a very good question. You're very smart. As I always say, like they used to say in the old time, you are intelligent by the way you question, not by the way you answer.
Okay,
I think you are a very smart person.
thank you.
When you create, you develop three things: agility, you become agile to perceive things. You develop a multi-dimensional view of things and a holistic view. And also, when you are creating, like I have been doing all my life, you don't establish differences. You only establish difference between similarity. You don't establish similarity between differences. So when you create a character, it's like when I'm creating molecules that I give them a function. So in a book, when I'm creating a character as I did it, because I got this character, which is not easy to maintain the character
Right,
demeanor.
yeah.
Only Hemingway used to do that. Our great Hemingway, could create 11 characters.
Mm.
And that was easy for me because I'm used to handle many molecules simultaneously because I do it creatively.
Hmm.
So that's very important. And when I write in novel, help me to be more agile in my imagination and conceptualization in sciences and
Hmm.
vice versa. Like we used to say, science at the highest level is art, and art at the highest level is science.
Hmm.
The greatest creative people, like Albert Einstein, they were a great writer. Uh, for instance, Charles Darwin, he was a great writer, you know.
Hmm.
Uh, Cajal, the guy who discovered the neuron, he was a great writer,
Hmm.
you know. All the people who create, because you are in your mind, creativity is how you integrate different dimensions.
But now
That's
you had a unique challenge in your creativity by writing from a woman's point of view or a little girl's point of view. Was that difficult? I mean,
good. Oh,
how did you do that?
you are very smart. Oh my God. Good question. Good
Thank you.
question. Yeah. Oh, I wish I had talked to you before. Uh, no problem. One of the biggest dilemma in contemporary modern society, especially after the 11,000 years ago, after the great, what we call it, crescent fertile, is that when the when I say man, I talk about Homo sapiens, decide to divide his function, keeping the women in the house, and he kept going outside for owning land, territory, and people. Before the two were together, women and men were partners because they both had to survive the challenge of nature. But when they become into what you call a settlement in the house, and he continued going out, yes, that's when there was a division between men and women by the first time. That's 11,000 years ago.
Mm.
Yeah. So uh, we that's when we start women, characterizing women as different from men from the point of productivity. But we don't realize that there is no difference, and women should not be considered or evaluated from the point of gender, because the gender is the sex chromosomes, XX and XY. Those XX and XY chromosomes don't influence our thinking and creativity. So there is no difference, even socially, there is no difference. What we had to do is to look at the women throughout history, anthropologically, and also as a Homo sapiens,
Mm.
yeah, with the same type of chromosome, same genome. And so for me, when I look at the women, I look at from that point of view, from the point of view of Homo sapiens, not from the sexuality.
But certainly
And
there's a difference between men and women in the way they think, no?
no, not at all. Not
Oh.
at all. Not at all. Not at all. Because when they were before 11,000 years ago, both were had to survive nature.
Mm.
And they had to use the same type of attitude and the same conceptualization when they were for hunting
Mm.
in nature. Yeah, there was no difference.
Let me ask you
Yeah.
this.
Later, after that, women start adapting to conditions who made them think different than the man who was always in the field.
Mm.
That is why in the book I pay great attention in how to describe the environment that people can hear it, can see it. I pay a lot of attention to how to describe. I become almost like a Milton, yeah, because environment makes a big difference in how you think.
Mm.
Go ahead. You have a
Well,
question.
let me ask you this. Do you see a sequel to this past 2037? Then when the girls have gone on and been older, maybe they adopt children of their own?
Good point. Remember that the girls, in order to fulfill their own purpose of life, they had to create an equity, and they did it by creating a unique company that nobody had it before.
Mm.
Nobody can compete with them.
Yeah.
So after that, and also during that process, they train new young girls and they follow up. So the girls continue creating.
Yeah, it's their
So
legacy.
yes, because when you create is
Mm.
it's a timeless process. It's like we call it uh, a sequel. Yeah,
Mm.
it's a process. Yeah, in which one creative point of view or one invention leads you to the next one.
Mm.
It continues like when you have the ripples of the water.
Right.
Yeah, those waves of the water. One wave create the next one. That one disappear, and the next one create the next one.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. It's a sequel. Yeah, that's what we call the approach or sequential. There is no endless in creativity. Yo, so like for instance, myself, I
Mm.
can create anytime I want it because I already have creative process. And then when I get something, it leads you to another one. Creativity doesn't start in the vacuum. You
Mm.
always create anchoring point of view.
Yeah.
Continue. It's a continuous thing. Okay.
Last
Yeah.
question. What do you want readers to get out of this
I
novel?
want the reader to get out of this that number one, to see that today in contemporary technological and AI society is the best time for anyone to develop, to progress, because this fast-paced shift in society with technology and AI put pressure on us to be creative. And creativity is the only way, is the alternative, the key for competing as well as for progress. And the other thing is that we had to look at on the women, and especially in the other side, the women today want to recover their original creativity that she always had before 11,000 years ago. Yeah, and they want not only to recover that creativity they always have, but also they want to be highly educated. They want to be leaders in knowledge in many different views. At the same time, they want to be a good mother. But it takes a lot of creativity to do this. And also, society in general had to look up that today we live in a more diverse point of view, in a more diverse critical thinking, in a more diverse critical mass, not just different people, but people different thinking. Therefore, the ecosystem is full of people with different thinking. Consequently, the ecosystem is crowded. And when the ecosystem is crowded, we have to amplify it to create room. And the only way to create room is with creativity. That's what I want the people to understand. By doing it. And creativity doesn't come just by thinking or wishing, but by hands-on and doing things and appreciating different thinking as I had done all my life. And also, if we want to make a difference, we have to show it. Today, more than ever, we need to create things tangible, what I call a functional creativity, and wanting to have your ownership, self-reliant, as always the American culture is supposed to be self-reliant.
Mhm.
So we have to recover that part. And this book is showing exactly what people need. This is a great book and very timing for what is today needed. As I said at the beginning, it's not only an inspiration, but also is entertaining. There is a lot of stories in it that people will enjoy. Yeah, and people will find identify with it because this is something that I created based on all my experience throughout the world, and culturally, scientifically, and socially.
The name of the
That's,
book is Polishing Diamonds, and it's available on Amazon and elsewhere. Thank you,
and,
Raul, for joining
and
us today.
in fact, when I choose this name, polishing diamond, this is very important
Yeah.
because diamonds is or are the most precious material. Yeah, carbon-made material, different than gold, which is a metal.
Mm-hmm.
Nevertheless, these precious you have to give a value. Value. That's why you have to polish. You have to harness it. That means polishing means harnessing. If you want a good gold, you have to polish it. If you want a good diamond, you have to polish it to give it value. And what happened is uh, feminism has been euphemized because had never received a value, quantifiable value. And we always, when the women come out with a create invention, functional utility, we take it as a surprise, but we don't take it as expected. And that's it for everybody, not only for women, but also for any other person. And I want to say this is the best time because we are at the crossroad in terms of not only culture, but a crossroad in terms of what is the best for us, science or technology. Technology was always based in science, not the other way around. And we're doing technology based in technology. So that's why we're at a crossroad today. And we need people who can make again the balance between science and technology. And women can step to the place because women have missed some other occasion, like in 18th century, for instance, when we had a mechanical era and we create what is called the mechanical press in which you reduce the number of men. That was one of the first time in modern time that women have great access to society. But unfortunately, women enter as a supporting cast rather than leading. She was the typist. not the initiative. So now we need women who create technology, not women who use technology, not women who just manage technology, but who create technology. Of course, like a man is doing. This is important book. That's what I think that this book is good for people to see it perhaps at the level of theater and or movies, because we have the two main components, the three main components. One is entertainable, inspirational. At the same time, it is a book who presents the know-how. It doesn't tell you what it is, but it tells us how to do it. That's what is inspirational, not just motivated, because most books are motivated, because motivation is telling you what is the reason for something to happen. Inspiration tells us how to do it. That's what this book is about.
And you can get that book on Amazon. It's called Polishing Diamonds. Raul Cuero, so good to talk with you
And they
today.
can see my webpage too,
Oh,
raulcuero.com.
RaulCuero.com. Cuero, which is Spanish
C-U,
for leather, I believe. So,
C-U-E-R-O.
yep. Thank you so much. And thank you, folks, for spending a few minutes with us on the Global Book Network. I'm Paul Ryden. We'll see you next time.
Hello, my name is Taylor Prevost, and I'm a current third-year medical student. I first met Dr. Cuero in 2023 as a graduate student of molecular genetics. I began to work with him as an assistant, but quickly Dr. Cuero saw some capacity within me and he decided to foster it. Dr. Cuero sharpened my molecular skills and challenged me not to only think as a scientist, but as an inventor as well. When Dr. Cuero began to nurture my creativity, I noticed a shift not only in my studies, but also in the way that I thought as well. He instilled in me the culture of knowledge, and with this introduction came collaboration. I'm excited to be working on projects with Dr. Cuero, not only as an assistant, but as an equal in his own words. I never imagined becoming an inventor as a young woman, but now Dr. Cuero and I are collaborating on the development of a molecular early detector device for preeclampsia, a leading cause of maternal mortality. I am excited to help shape the future of women's healthcare with Dr. Cuero's continued mentorship and support, and I'm forever grateful for having had the opportunity to be adopted by him in a sense. Thank you, Dr. Cuero, for forever changing my life and continuing to take me underneath your creative wing.
Hi, my name is Maria Diaz, and I'm a fifth-year medical student. And I'm incredibly grateful to be mentored by Dr. Cuero, a scientist whose creative mind has profoundly influenced me. Through his guidance, I had the privilege of being part in two patent inventions, an experience that has deeply changed my personal as well as my professional growth. This has been both a challenging as well as a transformative experience, helping me build confidence and connecting me early on with a strong sense of purpose in my life. This is particularly significant in today's society because creativity and invention are the heart of progress and are essential to finding fulfillment in life. In medicine, especially, they are fundamental pillars for developing ideas as well as solutions to pressing health problems. These experiences have taught me to approach challenges with a creative mindset, constantly seeking ways to improve and devise new solutions for the field. To me, a good mentor is not only someone who teaches you techniques, but also someone who inspires you, recognizes your potential, and helps you reach it. And that's exactly what Dr. Cuero has done for me. Working alongside a scientist of his caliber is a rare and invaluable opportunity. I am so grateful for the trust he has placed in me and for the inspiration he gives me to keep growing as a future creative physician.